Now, normally in baseball, it's 3 strikes, you're out. Normally, that's the rule of thumb. But what about today? The federal gave us 4 strikes on one day. In no particular order. You would remember that it was a week ago when the Prime Minister said that there was going to be a revenue shortfall of $12.5 billion. Remember about the whole idiocy of the Australian economy was like a bloke called John, and John might be not getting as much money as he was promised. By who? But to get the shortfall, you just go and borrow the money? Here's the PM digging herself one hell of a hole last week.
A wage earner, John, employed in the same job throughout the last 20 years. For a period in 2003 to 2007, every year his employer gave him a sizable bonus. Now, very late, John has been told he won't get those promised increases for the next few years, but his income will get back up after that to where he was promised it would be. What is John's rational reaction? To respond to this temporary loss of income by selling his home and car, dropping his private health insurance, replacing every second evening meal with 2-minute noodles? Well, of course not.
Too many people have forgotten that. Well, that was a week ago when the problem was $12.5 billion. And then they moved the goalposts. Penny Wong, this morning on Sky News, confirmed that now the revenue shortfall is $17 billion. So worst case scenario, they've lost $5 billion in a week, or due to an accounting error, they have miscounted by $5 billion in 1 week. That'd be strike number 1. That in and of itself would be enough to dominate the start of the program. But it ain't the only terrible and weird thing that happened today. What about the fact that there was an auction that finished up today, and this was of digital spectrum, technology space that companies would like to use for, among other things, data transfer, mobile phones, radio technologies. Now, this was supposed to raise $3 billion, but nobody wanted to buy the last third. That means that you can revise down by another $1 billion after this government banked on $3 billion but will only get $2 billion and has a third left over that nobody wants to buy. And then we also got an announcement today of even more money, despite the fact that predictions into the years could be that the budget black hole is $80 billion. Guess what this federal government's going to do? More taxpayer-funded advertising. Seriously, last week it was about Gonski. The week before it was about the NBN. Now it's going to be Aussie Jobs First. More taxpayer-funded ads to reinforce Labor Party scare tactics, in this case the 457 visas. Strike 1, 2, 3 and here's 4. Since Friday, 10 boats have arrived in Australia with asylum seekers. On board, more than 1,000 people. They lost $5 billion. They can't sell a third of the spectrum, and it puts them $1 billion short of the $3 billion that they wanted. They still are going to spend more money of our money trying to flog themselves between now and the election, and 1,000 people are here who weren't here last Thursday. Strike 1, 2, 3 and 4. How long till the election? Tick, tick, tick.